Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about how I believe the zodiac sign Libra can be manipulated. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Anyway, people, first thing up is, well, I just want to state that these videos are not so much about trying to learn how to manipulate zodiac signs. It's about the zodiac signs in the videos that I'm doing for each zodiac sign. It's for them to really be cognizant of what signs to look for if somebody may be trying, attempting to manipulate them. So that's really what this is about. So anyway, well, first of all, Libra can be manipulated by having to choose between A or B. It's a little different than Gemini because Gemini can be confounded and confused by multiple options, having a multitude of options and selections. But Libra, I think it just takes two options because they're about the balance, the scale, weighing pros and cons, and going from point A to point B. They could vacillate strongly between one and the other. It could be, well, do I go for the guy with the rich pocketbook, or is it the one or wallet, or is it the one with the affluent heart? I mean, the affluent heart is what you should go for as far as, but anyway, that's my own thing. But anyway, or it could be do I choose the car with the power steering or the one that's got better shocks? Libra, you get the idea. Libra can be very ambivalent and indecisive, and people can often capitalize to take advantage of that. Now, another thing is that I think Libra can be manipulated by superficial charms. They're the ones that often will exhibit that, but a lot of times when that's projected onto them by others, I think that could actually work on them. Libras can be very charming. They're often admirers of charm, and sometimes they could be a little bit confused sometimes as to whether it might actually be, whether it's coming across, whether it's ingenuous or not. They often, a thing too is, I mean, given that charm can often, lead the person in question to try to manipulate Libras somehow. But the thing about it is, another thing about Libra is that they often like to collaborate with others on projects. Of course, they're very relationship oriented. Libra may be swayed into doing something in some cases with that promise of getting assistance on something, getting some kind of reciprocation in return as far as somebody helping them out with something. They sometimes the person may follow through on their end and actually help Libra out, but sometimes they may not, and they may feed off the fact that Libra often likes to do things collaboratively and doing things with someone else. They're generally not the ones that are really often self-reliant or self-sufficient or what have you. They are, but another thing is, now, Libra, of course, I mean, they epitomize fairness, equilibrium, being equitable and balance. And the thing about Libra, to get them exasperated or upset, if somebody's trying to do that, is simply by perhaps doing something that they don't seem that is fair or equitable to them. Now, as a child, they might, a parent may give one of their siblings more attention than them. It could be done in some cases because they know Libra might get upset at it. If it's especially, I mean, if you're talking about a malicious parent, if it's vengeful, especially, I'm not saying they all would do that to Libra, but Libra, if people understand what Libra is about, and they are strongly about fairness more so than any of the other zodiac signs on average, then this could be done to get at their goats, so to speak, and get them riled up and upset. Now, another thing is, well, as a child, well, what could happen is Libra can be, what a parent may do in terms of taking away from Libra, depriving them of something. I mean, given that Libra is often very enamored with intellectual sociability. It could be the parent may do something with some kind of parental controls on their social media sites, because of course Libra is often the quintessential socialite, so to speak. They are really very relationship oriented and like to meet, really like to connect with people constantly, and whether it's in the outside world or the virtual world on the internet, they are, it could be taking things away from them that are connected, other things that could be Libra related. It could be it could actually just simply be making their curfew earlier, because often Libra can be very, again, very sociable. They often like to go out, given their relationship oriented, whether it could be with their friends or it could be a significant other. It could be a dating situation, and depriving them of that additional time could really get to them. And another thing could be, it could be, Libra can often be interested in games associated with that sign, such as like a Law and Order SVU board game, or some kind, or something else, a People's Court game, or even something else that could be Libra-like. It could be even a scale. It could be, if Libra is into gymnastics, a balancing beam. There often are about balance. This is very isolated, of course, but you understand what I'm saying. It could be being deprived of Libra things. I should say the threat of that could get Libra to do what the parent wants to them. The threat of relinquishing the items that I described before, it may very well get Libra to do what one or both the parents want them to do. Now, the thing about it too is Libra can often, they could be swayed by others. I think in a lot of cases, given that Libra is really so, again, they're often about their sustained relationships, and they are so about being, doing things with others and being involved and having a significant other. A person that could be this prospective significant other for Libra can say, I will promise you I will be in a sustained connection with you. I will do this for you. There's not going to be any wavering. I promise I'm going to do this and stay with you through trials and tribulations, etc., etc. And that could get Libra to comply with what it is this person is saying, and sometimes this person may not follow up on their end of the deal. Because people can often be cognizant of Libra really having that strong need, that want for relationships, more so than the other zodiac signs on average. Now, again, well, actually, another thing is that I think Libra can sometimes be manipulated in matters connected with compromise and negotiation. Now, an example could be, okay, let's say somebody's trying to reconcile some situation, some monetary situation with Libra, right? And the person says to Libra, okay, I want to, they're trying to come to some agreement on how much Libra should be paid. The person may say to Libra, well, how about I'll pay you $40 and in order to settle some debate or dispute over money owed. Libra might say something like, oh, the Libra Sun, Moon, Ascendant person may say something like, oh, how about $50? When the reality is the person in this example who offered $40 got Libra to acquiesce and actually agree to the actual amount intended, which would have been $50, because what they'll do is they'll work that situation, perhaps that to their end, that negotiation to their end, and get Libra that way to actually get them to agree to the amount that they truly wanted to pay them. So I think that could be something where somebody could get to Libra as far as that goes. And often, again, another thing I want to talk about as far as Libra goes, they are often about peace and harmony. They are often very non-confrontational and will really often go to great lengths, I think, to avoid really some kind of combat or strife or discord. They are really not about dissension and fighting or arguments or what have you. Now, the thing about it is, if say Libra is in a significant other situation, which they often may be, The significant other, as an example, may issue an ultimatum to him or her and say, well, you need to bring in some more money into the home, or we may have to go into a rougher neighborhood or community, which would be, it might be less money, but it won't necessarily be as safe. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, what could happen as a result, Libra may acquiesce to this, and the person might have just said this just to get Libra to comply with what he or she wanted, and perhaps in some examples bringing more money in into the household, or it could be something else. Now, again, well, another thing about Libra, I mean, Libra often is enamored with refinement and things that are cultured as well. And they, I mean, they don't certainly, they want to go and be around, I mean, be in that area and neighborhood where people are as well. But another thing I want to talk about is that sometimes, I mean, when you look at Libra as well, another thing to get to them is that I think what could happen is, given that Libra is so knowledgeable about legal matters, somebody may actually use Libra for their knowledge and assistance. They might butter them up and say all positive things about them, and might use them for knowledge that's pertaining to the law and legal matters, ordinances, because Libra can, on average, may be the most knowledgeable about those things. The one thing you don't want, somebody trying to, they're manipulating Libra. I mean, Libra, the one thing about them is that if there's something connected with a lawsuit, and anybody tries to threaten them with that, Libra, that will actually play into Libra's hands, I believe, because given the fact they could be so knowledgeable, and their knowledge can often be very profuse in matters connected with the law, it would be very hard to try to say to Libra, well, if you don't do this or such and such, I'll sue you. Because Libra will often be like, well, go ahead and sue me, make my day. You know, I have nothing to fear. That's not exactly going to put Libra in a strong state of fright or trepidation by any means. But anyway, another thing too is that this is something, another way I think Libra can be manipulated, though, in some cases, that if Libra is in a situation, say they're at work and somebody may be trying to, it could be a supervisor or somebody prominent in their workplace, doesn't like Libra and trying to get the Libra sun, moon, or ascendant person out or something. A lot of people can understand and see that Libra again could be about that strong peace and wanting things status quo. They're not into truculent situations or things that are combative or what have you. Maybe in some cases somebody may try to set up a situation there that might be volatile, or have a fight break out or something between some people, in order to get Libra to say, okay, I'm going to take off and leave. I can't be around this kind of environment. That could be because those are the things Libra does, they're like Taurus, they like their peace and tranquility. They want to have things really where people are getting along and people are compatible, and you don't have that strife and discord. And those kind of things would be something that Libra can be rebuffed by, and Libra ultimately could get Libra to take off. Another thing where I think Libra can be very susceptible to being manipulated is, again, it's matters connected with relationships and sociability. I mean, somebody may often Libra can often be very popular. They know how to connect with others. Again, they are people that just seem to have that. I mean, if it's their charm or what it could, there's multiple reasons, but they're able to draw a lot of people to them often. They often are very popular. Others may try to use this to their advantage. As an example, somebody may try to get friendly with Libra in order to just expand their own social circle. I don't mean just with the Libra Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, but with people that they know. And what they can do is, I mean, Libra can often be that type that might ingratiate themselves with others in order to improve their social status or what have you. But sometimes it can work the other way, I believe, and other people can do that same thing to Libra. And a thing too, another thing to look at as far as this goes. Now, it's important to look at the house that Scorpio falls on in a solar or natal chart, is this could be the area or sector of life that one could be perhaps most susceptible and vulnerable to manipulation. Now, Scorpio often falls on the second house cusp in a solar or natal chart for Libra. Libra may very well be vulnerable to manipulation on a monetary level. See, this is a sign that Libra often does not want to make waves and may not fight over these matters. I mean, Libra can be very fair-minded, and that includes maybe even their own possessions as well. They may be helping people out, and what happens is they may actually share their own possessions, but what could happen is Libra can be lured perhaps into a scenario or a situation where they may be sharing their possessions with others, but others may take advantage of this, and sometimes, in some cases, wind up taking Libra more than, I mean, a lot of Libra's possessions, and they could just, in some cases, may just downright take off with them and not come back. It's kind of like you give a person an inch, they may take a mile from you. And the thing about this is that, again, the second house is also about the house of self-esteem and self-worth. Now, Libra is not a real sensitive sign by any means. It's an air sign, and the air signs are the ones that I think, as far as any trinity or element, I should say, are most averse to any emotional exuberance, you could say. But I think Libra can actually be a little more sensitive to anything derisive or criticism and ridicule connected with how they look, more so than average. Where you think, okay, well, what does this have to do with Scorpio often falling on the second house cusp for Libra in a solar natal chart? Okay, this is it. Because given this is the house of self-esteem and self-worth, somebody can, in order, I mean, to get Libra feeling down on themselves, I think sadly people will look at that a sensitive point as far as appearance, because Libra is often, I mean, they're connected often with beauty and looking very good, their appearance, and they want to often look very attractive. If somebody tries to bring them down and say something about them, even though it may not be true in many cases, and saying that Libra, oh, you're homely, or this or that, or saying you're not attractive, this could be something that could really get to Libra, and it could manipulate, I guess you could say, their self-esteem and self-worth, so to speak, sadly. So Libra has to understand if people are doing this, it's often those that are just jealous, and they're trying to get Libra to take the bait on it and get them upset, or do something irrational, or something that they may regret later on. So another thing I want to talk about now, last but not least, it's also important to look at where the zodiac sign Pisces falls on in a solar or natal chart for Libra. I mean, in a chart, as this could indicate the area in life or sector in life where one may be most susceptible to deception and duplicity. And in a solar or natal chart for Libra, Pisces often falls on the sixth house cusp. Now, this could be, see, with Libra in this case, that could indicate, given it's a sixth house, that they may be strongly susceptible to deception and duplicity by their fellow employees and workers. Because Libra may delude his or herself into thinking these people are very fair-minded and equitable, and just because I am, that means, well, they're going to be. I'm going to be fair to them, so maybe they'll just do the same to me. But I think what happens is people may often capitalize and take advantage of Libra's very good disposition and often an even temperament, and try to make Libra do more of the workload than what he or she should be doing. Given also the sixth house is also the house of service. Now others may take advantage of Libra perhaps because Libra can be very compassionate and self-sacrificing in this area, given that Pisces often falls on the sixth house cusp for Libra in a solar or natal chart. And they might be manipulated into doing more for somebody than what was originally anticipated, because they have because that's the area in life they could show a lot of that self-sacrificing energy. And also to remember, the sixth house is also the house of daily routine. So these can be people that Libra may see rather consistently. Libra is often rather non-confrontational, so Libra might allow some of this to go on, a little bit of this deceptive behavior by others, and it could just be just general phoniness, and they might just put up with it and not really say much, because again, Libra is a sign that often doesn't want to make waves. And don't get me wrong, Libra is not a real weak sign by any means. They will, I mean, Libra can abhor and loathe injustice and will still fight for beliefs when necessary, but generally if it's something of a more serious nature, or if it's something that's really illegal that's transpiring that somebody is doing or trying to do to them, if, like, for example, it's like some strong blackmail situation or there's bribery, those are things that Libra will often fight for if it's something serious and it's something pertaining to a legal matter. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for how I believe Libra can be manipulated. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be talking about how I believe Scorpio can be manipulated. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.